Hi, my name's Jackie.
And I'm Marion.
Welcome to Culture Corner, where you get real connections,
Real conversations.
and real community.
Stay tuned.
Welcome to Culture Corner. Today we are going to be talking about women in business, mothers in business,
Motherhood.
friends in business.
Women in your business.
Exactly.
How to evolve your culture in the workplace.
Yeah.
Those are some of the topics we'd be exploring. I was gonna say, when I was a waitress in Toronto, the owner would slap my butt,
Yeah.
and that was so annoying. Trying to be flirty beyond what I think is appropriate.
Yeah. I would say the same thing with me. It's like
I mean,
there's things that I'm sure people would not.
where's the line? Find it.
I am sick. I am sick of your shit. And when I'm not sick, I'm tired. I am sick and tired.
And I feel like it's a personal line.
It's a personal line. But I think
I
like
don't ever feel like I've been like
if you know your boss has a wife and kids, and you're like, buddy, like someone's ass is kind of considered it's a part you cover every day, so I mean, I don't know.
I've never had anyone smack my ass or anything like that. I mean,
But I really
should
always think about
not
it.
people that I work with, people that like patrons, absolutely. But not ever do I'm always like, not appropriate, or like kick this dude out.
Yeah,
or,
I was
I'm
like,
done.
but
But
like,
never from
give me
anyone
my
I
paycheck.
work with. Like anyone
I'm
I work with,
done.
nothing ever came at me that wasn't like we weren't friends, and it was inappropriate, I guess you should say.
I'm irresistible.
But definitely from all the patrons, definitely from patrons, and not just from men, from women too.
But I was really hella young, even for that circumstance.
Yeah.
Too young,
Yeah.
I think.
No, I would want to know I want to know what their answer would be.
I don't think I've ever been actually scared.
Sure,
It was
but
a perceived threat, and it was definitely a violation of space, because that's pretty entitled to lay your hands on my
yeah.
body.
well, I mean, nowadays
we're not in a petting
if
zoo.
someone did that nowadays, then yes, they would be going to court.
But the thing to remember is how did we get to the place where we're treated like an object, which is the opposite of emasculation. And there's like all sorts of ways that, I mean, look at the show. My mentor, Alison Armstrong, made a joke recently about, watch Raymond. Is it?
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Everyone Loves Raymond, but the entire show is him being emasculated and people laughing about it.
Yeah.
And that like it takes its toll. So then we wonder how the media affects the way we speak and the way we think and how it molds our youth. And if you just like really boil down what you're watching and say, what is the program here? What is the producer trying to achieve? And sometimes you go, I don't know if I want to watch this anymore.
Yeah.
So there's some accountability we have to take for how we respect people, and we don't often see a ton of respect.
Emasculation, just because they're saying, okay, honey, whatever you're doing, that works. You know what I mean? Especially
Oh, that
when
they're
we're
being
doing,
agreeable?
Well,
It
that's
isn't
what it
emasculating.
is. It's
But
like, but that's what he's like. That is how he is. He's like,
I haven't
okay.
seen it.
Yeah. Okay, honey, whatever. You know, like my dad was like that. It was never emasculated by it at all. It was like, no, I'm doing this for my queen.
The
And that's
essence
that's
of a man is that feeling that
Sure.
she's happy, I'm happy. That's like a
I feel
dopamine
like
hit even.
in the stuff I've done too, I feel like it's, you know, I've never worked for like really a corporation or like really any 9 to 5, 2 9-to-5 jobs that in my whole entire life.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
same.
So I don't think I've had to deal with a whole lot of like getting paid less than men. That doesn't happen in my line of work. I usually make more money than there's more male bartenders than there's women bartenders, and that's due to the fact that that probably because you've got to be able to like handle that type of shit. First of all, you're dealing with drunk people.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with people
who are
who
out
say
of control,
and they turn into children, and they're
incapacitated.
Then just all the there's no filters. You know what I mean?
They have men have bigger muscles. They have more muscle mass. It's a proven fact. It can't be argued otherwise.
Well, right.
So like if you're carrying heavy bottles, you're having to do a lot of labor. It's laborious.
It is definitely laborious.
You're out late.
But also too, you do have to have you have to be able to be like, no, bro, that's not gonna work, and but also in a way that you're staying, calm and actually calming them down. You know what I mean? You're basically
it's so weird to give someone
glorified babysitter.
So you give someone permission to do something that makes them lose control of themselves, and then you also have to regulate when you think that they've had too much. You don't want to deal with it anymore, So it's like a hilarious roller coaster ride of life that you go, you wake up in the morning, you have your coffee, you zip to work, and then you go home, relax, have a drink, wind down. Yeah. Or you go to a club and you wind up for a certain amount of time to blow off steam.
Yeah. But I guess so I feel like what most women would probably say is that they get paid less than men in the workplace, but I just never have experienced that myself, getting paid less than a male in the same role.
Doesn't James Brown sing the song It's a Man's World? And it really feels like that sometimes, for sure, because of how organized all the organizations are and structured systems are hard to mold, and we have to change our systems through a culture. And if we worship this one type of currency, the way that you make the most of it and that you're most successful are in these sectors, which don't happen to be soft helper hands, this day and age when women feel they need to make their own livings so that they can have a sense of control over their own life experience, and a man no longer has to provide the financial piece. Right. It makes the playing field a little bit more even, maybe, if you're into that. Lots of people aren't. There are lots of women in the world who enter marriage in order to have that stability
But I don't know. It's obviously to each his own.
And I think we get to change our minds about what we believe.
For sure. Well, I always tell my kids, you can always change your mind.
Yeah.
As long as there's a rhyme or reason to it, you don't have to
And that's the thing about systems. Marriage is a system. Religion can feel like a system. And so if you're integrated into a certain system, then you adopt certain beliefs. Right. And in the Jewish culture.
I think both of us, I tend to make my own mold of how I'm gonna make.
I kept my name.
Stuff happen. Yeah.
It's like Jackie said, for me, I didn't work in sectors where I could feel that, and I also was not comparing myself to anyone. I was trying to meet my own standards of what my job was asking of me. I wasn't asking my neighbor, what they were taking home, because I don't know what their capabilities are, and I knew what mine were, and I felt like I feel like life gives me a fair deal, and what I make with that will be my bounty. But it's I feel like I've been given the best life. I got to grow up in countries where there isn't domestic violence, in that we're in a war, or we have scarcity. We have a lot. There's a lot to be grateful for.
Tricky one. I smoke a lot of weed. That helps me balance a lot of things out, honestly, because it hyper focuses me, so I'm able to work and pick kids up from school and then come to work. You know what I mean? I feel like without that, I'd probably lose my mind. Legitimately. I don't think. That helps me balance. Meditation practices, staying grounded, and self-care. I think that sometimes my self-care looks different than like what most people would think it is, but for me it's like surrounding myself around friends. or
That's
making
it.
time-
That's so
Yeah,
fun.
I'm making time for like live music and friends.
Yeah.
And
Experience-
like,
shared
playing
experiences and
music
joy.
yeah, exactly. Like, and travel. Like,
Which is really what we do here
that
at
is
Culture
my
Corner.
self-care. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So we get a lot of self-care, I guess, then. It doesn't look
Well,
like what most people think it looks like,
yeah, exactly.
which is what you just
Well,
said.
I also feel like too, like with everything that we have here too, we're able to get breath work and yoga and art classes and writing classes and
Every time I step foot in here, I feel
Right.
amazing.
I know. So I feel like even though this is like our business, it's still like kind of self-care-ish. You know what I mean?
Man, you know, there's that show called Emily in Paris
Mhm.
or something. So cute. And there's a scene, and there's a few scenes where the French say, don't talk about business in social settings.
Mhm.
And I'm like, but wait, but my organization is my life. Like, how
Yeah.
do I separate? What do we talk about if I'm not going to talk about,
Yeah.
like, the thing
All
that
the
lights
things that
me
we're
up?
doing.
You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, wait, let me.
True. You spend a lot of time at work. So
Yeah.
it's like if you're not talking about that at some point.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
what the fuck are you talking? Like,
Come on.
you're only talking about
Well, let's
you know,
not talk about
30%
that
of your
thing
life.
that I do all day.
30% of your
That's-
life. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess if
mean,
you don't like what you do,
then
then you don't want to
then
talk
you don't wanna
about
talk
it.
about it. That's true. That's true. That's
Because
true.
I don't know, I don't think it's a pride thing in a negative way. I think it's like you want to feel like for
But
whatever,
some
for
people
why
do
you're
talk
ever,
about
that's
it in
true.
a
And
negative way. Like they do
Yeah,
vent
I know.
about it. It's like, you know, those
I
your friends
do.
who are like, oh my gosh, that's all. You're always talking about this and it's so horrible and you hate it. Like, quit your job. That's what I tell
Quit your
people
job.
that complain
I know.
too much. I'm like, it's time for you to quit.
One thing about me, I'm the baddest alive. He know that.
Like, even when I like, you know, I mean, I'm sure everyone would
Oh
just
my
love to
gosh.
not work and do whatever. But even when it's like I'm working over, it's like I still like what I'm doing. I'm not like dreading going to work every day and just like leaving pissed off every day at all. Like at
I
all,
can't imagine.
ever. Like I can't
What a
imagine either.
luxury. Now
Sometimes I
knowing
feel
that.
like, okay, I'm tired and I don't know if I can do this, but always when I get there, it's just the same thing. Like when we go out, when we go out, you know, sometimes I'm like, fuck, I don't feel like going out today.
And
or
then
something.
you go,
You know, and then I'm like, but it's okay. I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna do it anyways. And once I get there, I'm like, oh my god, if I didn't come tonight, you know, just like us going to random like reggae night, you know, or like
never random
just,
amazing.
I know, but you know what I mean. Just like, okay, we're going to
Not
reggae
planned,
night. It's Monday night.
spontaneous.
Let's go. I'm like, or I'm calling you like it's 10 o'clock. This band is playing at 11. Let's go.
Oh my god, I so 100% wish I could make it 100% of the
I
time.
know. Me too.
That's the thing.
I wish I could make way more. Than
This
I
is
can.
why co-parenting is so smart, and
Yeah,
why living in a nuclear setup is really challenging for a mother. In my perfect world, I would live close to the city, but in nature-esqueness, with a small community where people have their individual spaces and yet share some form of community resource, whether that be just a really big kitchen. And it's the kind of thing where we all are accessible to this, so you have to have a lot of respect. And like at Plum Village, the monks there have like boards of whose job is what that day or that week or that month or whatever it was.
Mhm.
And so everyone knew what their part was, and you
Yeah.
never had to worry about
If
what
you
was
were
going
gonna
on
get
around you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
just
you
had
knew your part.
one
You had your
job.
part, and
Yeah.
you loved it.
You have one
because-
job.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And
But
I
yeah.
think in different,
Right, it moves around. I know. I've seen. I saw a little
So-
bunch of different communities that are set up like that, and it's very enticing for sure. I mean, that's
Yeah.
definitely what.
yeah.
That seems like the dream if you can find your like.
Because if there are
core
things that
people.
you don't have to communicate, which are like the tasks that have to be done,
Right.
like they just have to be done, be happy they're getting done. Like the small amount of time I've lived in a community, I was so blown away by how much joy I was experiencing on a daily basis and how little I had to deal with in ways that were kind of annoying. And
Yeah,
when
instead of having to think of 20 things you had to get done that day, you only had to think of one.
and
and
you
then-
wanted to.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
wanted
you want
to.
Yeah, you want to.
Yeah,
contribute.
everyone is like asking for what they can do and how they contribute, and then you're having joy doing that thing.
Yeah.
But if people started to slack, or if things started to go down, our elders were there and made a very strong point to let us know that things were starting to slack and like get your shit together type of things.
Yeah.
And like just calling out like, you're smoking too much. This is this, you know,
Yeah.
like let's get back to, you know, some form of not hedonism, you know, because we have
Yeah.
work to do.
Right,
We
right,
really
right.
did have work to do.
Right.
You'd be supported in ways that everyone's doing it every day.
Well, definitely
at the
it's
same
a
time.
community of help for sure.
My problem is I don't know how to ask for what I need. I'm learning. That's what the Queen's Code is all about.
Yeah.
So it's about,
I think you do pretty good job
do you?
of that. Yeah.
I think because the person who loves me in the way that he thinks that I need, I think, which is a really healthy thing. But it's because we're parents mostly. I think like the romance or moments when you're raising kids now that I'm cohabitating, I notice that it's like utilitarian, becomes utilitarian almost for me to answer your question about juggling it. That there's like, you have to handle so much in the home and so many energies and different people's needs.
I figured it out before I started. I mean, I think because I had kids so young, I had to figure out how to balance or I had to choose a job that had flexible hours. And then, so bartending was easy because it was just like, you could always get your shift covered, you make good money, you know what I mean? Like you're making definitely more than $20 an hour, at least, you know? So like not as many hours for as much money as people were making hourly, you know what I mean? Like not having to work as many days. Night shifts, just the flexibility of it. And I feel like
there's music.
yeah, the social, yeah, like I could get my social and music and everything all at my workplace, which was nice. But yeah, so I don't like in retrospect, if I think about it, I don't know what else I could have done that would have provided me not have to work a 9 to 5, 5 days a week and put my kids in daycare and do all that shit. So even when the kids were young and they weren't in school, I just worked night shifts while they were sleeping. And then, yeah, so I don't know what else I could have done that would have worked for me, that I would have liked, that I could make, you know, at least $50 an hour. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really know if that would have changed anything for me. I mean, even still working, it's like people, I work with people that go to college, they get their bachelor's, and then what they got their bachelor's in, they still make less money than they do at the restaurant or the bar or whatever, you know, and they're still working there 10 years later. So I'm like, okay, so you did the school thing for maybe for when they're older, they want to do something.
Well, it's also part of a program,
Yeah, that's true.
post-secondary.
Yeah.
And we think that it will help us pick a vocation, and usually we can weave what we learn into whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
But for the debt that you acquire to get the education is the piece where you're like, I don't know.
I know. Well, yeah, and I just feel
Something's
like
not working here.
The shorter hours, you know, like you can work 3 days a week and still make the same that everyone else is making, working 5 days a week, working 9 to 5. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's things that I would have liked to do besides that, but just they didn't make enough money. You know, I would have liked to go into social work in some way, you know what I mean? But it's just not enough money not to raise kids on alone. You know what I mean? So I don't really know if that would have changed anything for me in that aspect.
Well, hindsight, I wanted and thought I would go into a career in theater. And that's like the trajectory I was on until my parents got divorced and my dad moved overseas. And then I met a young man who shifted my focus pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I kind of let that go. And then the main track was business. and I had to go to college because my mother had saved for a college fund, and if I didn't use it by a certain time, then I would lose the scholarship. So I chose business, and I spent 1 year, and then I went into creative advertising because someone I cared for and admired had gone into it, and it seemed like a really good fit.
Yeah.
And you can be creative and you can be in business. And that was really lucrative, but I ended up working in a 9-to-5 job and hating it and going, I cannot do this. I cannot sit in this cubicle. I cannot move paper around and feel like my time isn't of service or value for such a meager wage.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Such a huge time commitment.
I mean, I mean,
You
it's
know?
just like, I mean, I even tried doing other things, but every time would still just go back to,
And I went into
Right.
aesthetics after that.
yeah.
So I got my hair license, right? You got your estheticians. So hair is fun because you're having the social, you're being creative, you're making people feel beautiful.
Yeah.
It's therapy.
Yeah.
Really. And now, I mean,
But now I feel like
I
it's-
had a business that I was able to weave like a cultural thing from the part of the world where my heritage is from.
That's cool. Yeah,
So
I mean,
cool.
I feel like trying to do other things that still weren't really inside the box, like working for JetBlue. It was like I worked from home. It wasn't, the weird hours and
Great benefits.
great benefits. I mean, yeah, for sure. So like, I mean, I tried different things, but still, for some reason, it's just like, okay, but I only want to do this for so long. So then, being a single mom, I still had time with my kids, so it wasn't like I was just not ever there. Do you know what I mean?
Fully.
Yeah.
I guess the thing about being an entrepreneur is you don't leave it. It's always with you.
True. But
That's
as
a
long
different-
as, but like, like doing, that's true.
But life is what provides you with the constant reinforcement of the venture.
Yeah.
You learn through just daily life and collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration is key.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
share the
that's
weight.
what Sarah's doing now with FunFit, now known as FunkRx, with her new partner. So I mean,
Because it's
like,
important.
Well, then you have like someone else to lean on. You don't have to do everything yourself. You have someone to bounce ideas off of.
Who's equally as invested
exactly
in the
exactly,
vision.
Exactly.
And will do anything in her creative
Yeah,
power.
because sometimes it's, you don't, I mean, I guess it's nice to do things by yourself, but at a certain point it's like, oh, I don't want to do this by myself. I want to do this with someone who feels just as excited about it as I
and
am.
reminds me of why
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
much it took to even get here.
Yeah,
Because some days you're like, oh my gosh,
Just forget it.
we're not where we thought we wanted to be. But the truth is, it's sometimes,
We've come so far from where we were, so it's like, we can't forget that part.
and that's the
We
funny
remind each other.
thing about time. And if you think about it on like mushroom or shamanic terms, some moments you feel the emotion of what it's going to feel like when we have a certain milestone, like bringing a certain amount of people together and them having a certain kind of experience that lives in their life.
Yes.
Then you're feeling it in the present moment because that's
Yeah.
that's what you're working towards
Exactly.
all the time.
And that's like, because 2 years later we have people going, oh my gosh, I came to a guy nice, it changed my life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so to hear that, to know that you're making long lasting effects from doing, what we do, basically.
The
which is
ripple
like,
effect.
Yeah, the ripple effect is that feels good for sure.
So good.
Instead of just being like, oh, I mean, and I feel like I don't know about most people, but I feel like we probably found ways to do that in our work life. You know what I mean? Like I found that where it's like, oh, I have my regulars that come back and tip me $100 extra every Christmas, or like, people that you do make long lasting effects on just for whatever reason, you know what I mean? But mostly providing them with some sort of an experience that, impacted them in one way or another. So I mean, that's what it's about. For me.
Connection.
Yeah, connection.
It's about the
community.
connection. Conversations.
Conversations. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what starts all of that. Conversations start the connection.
Yeah.
And then
The
eventually you get
relatability.
community
Mm-hmm.
from the connections. So yeah, I do think that's.
Yeah, good. women have been playing a game where the rules are slightly biased one way. And I think there's a really wonderful opportunity for women to shine in the ways that everybody wants us to. And that's by being constantly in motion and bringing our nurturingness to our workplaces, and it being an influence in our workplaces because of that nurturing capability that we innately possess.
Well, also I think just changing the narrative, like, guess what? We can do this too.
Flipping the script.
Yeah, flipping the script. Yeah, just like being, you know, I mean, all the women before us being brave enough to push the envelope and break some rules. And
If
you
you
know,
really think about it,
like there was a lot of work that went into that for a long time. So like I'm kind of grateful to be in where we're at right now as women, because we do have the opportunity to be like, hey, guess what, guys, like women can do this too. And maybe
well, we can create industries that are related to healing, self-care, nourishment, nurturing, things that are maybe have been seen as more feminine, and asking for the cost to be a wage that we can stand and feel.
to stand on our own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But women in innovation there's an untapped resource. And I hope that anyone who's watching this that has an idea and wants to know whether it can fly, please send us your information.
Yeah.
And we will hype you and we will let you know what we think and what is possible, like an idea factory.
Right.
So
Women,
innovation,
send us your ideas.
come on
Let
now,
us help you
of every
build
age.
it up.
Because I've heard some very young women talk about some ideas that
Yeah.
we could use in the world right now.
Absolutely.
Which is why in some parts of the world they won't even let young women go to school.
I know.
Oh man. I mean, what's the threat about that? Women getting
the
access
women
to-
know too much.
Oh my gosh. I read a book in a museum once that said women who read are dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's
it's just like-
unfair.
It's just like in The Handmaid's Tale. It's like they're like, nope.
Yeah. I think all we need to do is find the hero within and figure what that looks like and do that.
Right.
And everyone will get along.
Correct. I
Because
believe-
yeah, we all want to make
believe
love
that.
at night or in the
We don't want to
morning,
make love
all day.
all the time.
Different. It looks different.
Yeah.
It can look different, but
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
what do you think?
Yeah. I think kind of what we were saying before, like a partner to lean on, you know, like when one's not doing so good, the other one's doing, you know, we're there to do that. We're there to bounce ideas off each other. We're there to hype each other up. We're there to remind each other why we started it in the first place. And then I feel like also too, like then we're there for each other in each other's personal lives, like with whatever we're going through. Like we always have someone to like, you know, like our own little
Hold space.
therapist. Yeah, exactly. Hold space for
That's what it
for
is
each
for
other to do
me.
that. Yeah, for sure.
Because
Yeah. And then I think having that aspect to that, you know, that we come from or that we're in similar life, parallel lives. We always say, or Brandon always says, we're living parallel lives. And we
literally
are.
my
They look
skin
very
bag
different, but
looks like this, and my name is Marion.
yeah.
And
But yeah, parallel lives, like, you know, being able to help navigate those things so we can do the other things that we want, because we are both ambitiously business women, and we like to, you know, we have
connect, organize,
connect, organize,
uplift.
I mean, gather, you know, like we like
Heal.
to heal and really even just create spaces or create a space for that to happen, for those things to happen, which obviously comes down to helping each other out, helping people out. But then also too, I feel like us doing that also shows our kids those things too, you know, that like, oh dang, you know, like mom goes to work and she's doing, you know, she's spreading her light however she can in whatever way she can, and then she comes home and also tries to do the same thing at home, which I know that we both do because we have, you know, gone on family vacations with each other, and we've been around each other's families, and so yeah, I mean that's important to me for my kids, especially my daughter, you know, to know that like, hey, you can do anything you want because we're doing it. So like my, you know, like our kids, you know, I know my boys are like proud of me, you know, they're like, oh man, mom's doing this, and you know, then they have their dad that's doing that, and then they have, you know what I mean? So I feel like to show them that we can do that regardless of us, first A, being women, and second B, being
How
a
it
mother.
works for women.
Well, being a woman and being a mother, and we're still doing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's like, yeah, I feel like we're both doing it. High five, bitch. High five, bitch.
Because the thing that is so present in our relationship is trust. I feel like unshakable.
Yeah.
So because of that, I never feel like anything should be happening or shouldn't be happening that isn't supposed to be happening.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I'm like, okay, everything is on me in the ways that I feel I can control. And then I know you're doing your thing the way you need to be doing it. And I know that it's all working and ebbing and flowing.
Yeah. And then it all comes together.
And then all comes together. Yeah.
It worked.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the thing about motherhood, cohabitation with loved ones, and
video or pictures
was because of motherhood and because Jackie and I are in different socioeconomic places, that I can allocate the funds that I get in my life to the shop, and that Jackie's contributions are different than how mine are, but it all equals out.
Yeah.
And there's a trust there that we're only going to do good by one another.
Yep.
And that isn't a one person view. It's a
well, I mean, we had to talk about it. We communicated about it. We were like, okay, this is where I'm coming from. This is what I can do. This is what I can do. This is what,
we did
like,
talk
here's
about
what
it.
Yeah,
Several.
a lot.
We still talk about it.
Still,
because it's still a work in progress. It never won't. It never won't be.
I think I agree.
But I could
But I
feel
feel like
where-
we're constantly like touching base on that. And like, okay, this is where I'm at now. This is where I'm at. Okay, this is what I can do. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do that. You know. So I feel like we knew.
Oh. Yeah,
you know,
that's right. We set it up that way.
Yeah, we knew what.
So this is a PSA. Sorry to cut you off. To any organization owner, business person who has staff that are working for them that are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have not offered that person who you know you need to be offering to some degree of, you really put in the time, you really put in the work. My success is your success, and your success is my success. So let me give you a piece of the deal because you earned it, and this is how much I trust you. And I hope that people are having those conversations, and organizations and companies across the world can get hip to sharing the fruit of the labor in a fair way. Because I don't feel like that's happening enough.
I agree with that. It's not happening enough.
If you need help figuring out how to honor the people who make your organization thrive, give us a shout and we'll help you out with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
We would love to.
Mm-hmm.
Network.
Kind of like what we were just saying before, like conversation. I think it always starts with the conversation. I think we meet someone or we see someone even like that on Instagram or Facebook or wherever that is, you know, conducive to what we're trying to do here. And I think both of us are really good at reaching out and being like, hey, like what you're doing is so cool. And we're all about collaboration. So it's like, let us collaborate and like pump each other up. You know what I mean? Because I love what you're doing. I think you'll like what we're doing.
Let's have a play date.
Yeah, let's have a play date and like mush our things together to like uplift each other. You know what I mean?
Support
yeah,
each
and I think
other.
that's, I mean, in every conference, I mean, you know, at work, I talk to people about it. I had some woman today come in and was, remember we were talking about, I've been watching your podcast.
Oh my gosh.
She's
What
so
Sarah
cute.
did today for us today.
Yeah, exactly. But she was like, do you guys ever do like a, you know, donation based where you guys like, you know, gather things for single moms or something like that? I was like, no, but I'm about to.
Yeah, you want to
know?
be in charge?
She's like, I have so much stuff and I think that would be so cool, you know? And so like, anyways, but just, you know, those little conversations. And then like, I haven't even seen this woman since, I don't know, probably like October or something. And she came in today and she was like, yeah, she's like, I just love it. I love what you guys are doing. And like, you know, and she's like in her late 50s, 60s.
Unbelievable.
Like, and she's like checking it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of a small conversation.
Oh my God, I
we
love
had,
that.
right?
See, it's all ages,
Exactly.
everything.
Or just like having a conversation with someone and then being like, oh, that kind of vibes with like what I'm doing. And then, you know, with friends that I know and friends of friends. And I'm like, if you know anyone that's like interested in this, we have,
Yeah.
you know, so many of
Just
our friends
today.
have sent us people that are
That's
like,
true.
they will love, you know, this is your vibe. Like, you
That
gotta,
is-
you know, so I think
That
it
is
all
so
starts with
true.
a conversation and then you conversate with these people and create a connection, which is usually what happens. You connect with your people, I connect with my people, and then you have a rapport, you know, because
Build the rapport.
yeah, you would build a rapport by either, you know, doing a collaborative event or class with them, and then staying on top of it, staying in communication, making sure they have what they need, and that
You're great at that.
and creating, you know, a line of communication where everyone knows where their place is and
Yeah.
what they're supposed to be doing, so that whatever you are doing together runs smoothly. And then, you know, it doesn't always, but, you know, handling all the situations with like grace, yeah, and just like, you know,
Understanding.
understanding
Compassion.
totally, and not just like berate. What do you mean you got sick? Fuck that, you can't
Oh
get
my
sick.
gosh.
It's just like,
yeah.
oh my gosh.
Or what? Oh,
If
that
I
went wrong
didn't prepare-
again.
If
It's
I
like,
didn't prepare for you getting sick, then that's my bad. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where, like, that's how I plan events or things, because I'm always like, okay, I need to have a backup just in case, you know,
Mhm.
so that we always have something, you know what I mean? Like, even in the worst situations, because shit does happen.
Shit does happen.
Like, sorry, it's
Shit
just
happens.
our life.
It's so true.
So, like, prepare for it. And I feel like as an organizer or as someone,
Yeah.
like, if you're not preparing for it, then that's your bad. Like, if you're throwing a wedding and you don't prepare for, like, a backup fucking priest or some shit, like, you're the worst wedding planner ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
well, now
that's
I
what
do.
I feel.
Thanks
That's how
for
I feel.
sharing.
No, but you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think the conversation's where it starts.
Okay, well, let me tell you two things that happened today, just in the last couple hours, where I came into the shop and we have a really cute organization called Grateful Gatherings, Mackenzie and Brittany.
So cool.
And they do an after school program where they spend time with kids in nature, and then we're the after that part where the parents come pick up. So when I got here, I recognized a little girl that I had been with her family in a ceremony, in a Yahe ceremony. And so I recognized her and I said, oh my gosh, how are you? And then her mom came to pick her up when I was able to connect.
Oh, so cool.
And I had connected with her and her mother and her man in sacred space for 12 hours. I mean, you know, that's some length of
Yeah,
time to
for
spend
sure.
with someone you've never
Never
met before.
yeah.
Okay. So you're in the
It is.
morning, you're like, oh, hey. But to make a long story short, the other woman who had come in said that she has already referred our place to two of her friends who have checked out the website. So
Oh my gosh, that's
it's
awesome.
slowly but
Well, yeah,
surely.
and then one of them was like, I do art, you know, and I was like,
Yeah,
we
that's
need
right.
new art. We're making new space for new art. Also, if you're an artist and you want to display your art in our space, we would love that. We have lots of people who have come through, brought their art, and it's beautiful. I mean, we have art on our
Yeah.
wall from,
Or if you're a music person
Yes.
and you want to come and hold space for people of different ages to come and band jam,
yeah.
send us your information.
Yes, we would love to have
Yeah.
you here in the space. But yeah, I mean, it all starts with a conversation. So if you guys are watching this, have a conversation with someone about what we're doing.
If nothing more, you can comment on Jackie's beauty and disposition.
Yeah, right. Or Marianne's
I'm serious.
studious look
Oh, well,
tonight.
my,
I feel like we're kind of actually like Gwen Stefani.
I feel that
'Cause, like, we're
very
doing, like, the
much.
black and white.
Harajuku girl with
Yeah,
my hair.
with your hair and my
Come
short
on.
pants. Like, shut up.
We
Gwen,
got our leopard jackets out. Come on.
Gwen. that for me, it would have been nice, when I was younger and first being like a single parent and a mom and just even a young woman, at 18 to have some place like this where I could like have my outlets or space that I could go and have practices of whatever sort that helped heal me. You know what I mean? I think I ended up finding those things myself. I think my mom also too, like, put those things, gave us lots of options when we were younger to do those types of things, whether it was playing the piano or doing art or singing or, dancing or whatever. And so yeah, it would have been nice, I think, to have that, a place that I could go and kind of get all of those things if I wanted, you know what I mean? And then I have built like a community around that, and so, I mean, I think we all find our communities in some way or another, and so obviously I found mine, in some way, but yeah, I mean, if we can provide a space that does the same thing for even just one other person, like, it's worth it. Right there, it's worth it.
That's it.
But if we can do it for several other people, and hopefully
It's
one
like
day
Schindler.
even,
Do you remember what Schindler
yes,
said?
yes, even
One person.
That's all that matters. One person's life.
Yeah.
If you can change it in whatever way by providing what we provide here.
Great
I
answer,
mean,
Jackie.
that's
Yeah.
it. That's all that matters. Is that? So I feel like that's what we're trying to give
It's
back.
a feeling. It's a healing feeling.
Yeah. Well,
And
just
so
like
through
the fungi.
The fun.
fungi
Oh my
the
gosh!
fungi.
Well, you were saying fungi, and I was saying the fun.
I know. That's so funny.
Yes.
With the fungi
Love
being
you.
like so, like it spreads out and
The
grows so.
mycelium
Yeah, the
network.
mycelium. It's the fastest growing.
It's under everything.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's under
If
everything.
we
It's
can
the
be
whole
like
covered.
that for these.
We are.
for this.
We
people,
are
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
this is a center. Like throughout the world, there are centers, meridians,
yeah,
places that are energy, have strong energy.
Yeah.
Well, this is the place.
yeah.
This must be the
This
place.
must be the place.
For me, when I first had the feeling, like it was like an awakening, it was a feeling that I had never had before. And at a certain age, you like kind of sometimes get used to the feelings you have, and you're around a sphere that's constantly providing you with similar feelings. But I had an experience that I had never felt before.
Yeah,
And so for me, this place is to help as much as possible provide people with those feelings.
yeah, exactly. With things that we want, that we
Yeah,
want,
that are healing
Yeah,
and that are also uplifting and transcending and inspiring and
Yeah.
catchy,
Mhm.
not a virus.
Yeah.
Not that kind.
Not that
This
kind.
kind heals that kind.
Yeah.
This kind heals that kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
The mycelium network.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I know.
Oh.
It's so cool. So,
So,
join us next
meet
time.
you here next time
Yep. Next week.
where we discuss healing.
Is that what we're discussing?
I think that's what was on the agenda.
Healing. We will discuss healing.
Healing in the sense of how our perceptions were based upon our environments as children, maybe roughly or lightly talk about experiences that would cause someone to want to heal in the first place.
Right. Yeah. Healing and health. Health
Healing
as well.
and health.
Health as well.
Amen.
Thank you.
Namaste.
La 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 la.